What would you do if you were asked to kill something so terrifying that just looking at it would turn you to stone? This is the impossible challenge that faced one of Greece's greatest heroes, and it's a story that has captivated audiences for over 2,500 years. In ancient Greece, around the 8th century BCE, storytellers wove tales that explained the mysteries of their world while exploring the deepest aspects of human nature. These myths weren't just entertainment. They were lessons about courage, justice, and the complex relationship between mortals and gods. Our story begins with Medusa, one of 3 sisters known as the Gorgons. But Medusa wasn't always a monster. She was once a beautiful priestess in Athena's temple, with flowing golden hair that caught the light like spun silk. Her beauty was so remarkable that it attracted the attention of Poseidon, the powerful god of the sea. Poseidon pursued Medusa relentlessly, and when she sought refuge in Athena's sacred temple, he violated her there. You might expect Athena to punish Poseidon for this terrible act, but the goddess of wisdom made a choice that reveals the harsh realities of ancient Greek society. Instead of confronting her uncle Poseidon, Athena turned her rage on Medusa. The transformation was horrific. Athena cursed Medusa, turning her beautiful hair into writhing snakes and giving her a gaze so deadly that anyone who looked directly at her would instantly turn to stone. Medusa became a living weapon of destruction, exiled to a remote island where she lived in isolation, surrounded by the stone statues of those unfortunate enough to meet her eyes. Meanwhile, on the island of Seriphos, a young hero named Perseus was facing his own impossible challenge. King Polydex wanted to marry Perseus's mother, Danae, but Perseus stood in his way. The cunning king devised a plan to get rid of the young hero forever. He demanded that Perseus bring him the head of Medusa as a wedding gift, knowing full well that this was a death sentence. But Perseus had divine blood running through his veins. His father was Zeus, king of the gods, and this heritage would prove crucial. The gods themselves took notice of his plight. Athena, perhaps feeling some remorse for her harsh treatment of Medusa, provided Perseus with a polished bronze shield that would allow him to see Medusa's reflection without meeting her deadly gaze. Hermes, the messenger god, gave Perseus winged sandals that would allow him to fly, and a sword sharp enough to cut through anything. The hero also received a special bag that would safely contain Medusa's head, and a helmet of invisibility from Hades, god of the underworld. Armed with these divine gifts, Perseus flew across the Mediterranean to the desolate island where Medusa lived. The approach was treacherous. The shoreline was littered with stone statues, the remains of warriors, sailors, and curious travelers who had sought out the Gorgon. Perseus found Medusa sleeping among her sisters. Using Athena's shield as a mirror, he carefully positioned himself above her. With one swift stroke of his divine sword, he severed her head, never looking directly at her face. From Medusa's blood sprang Pegasus, the winged horse, and the warrior Chrysaor, both children of Poseidon. The journey home was fraught with adventure. Perseus used Medusa's head as a weapon, turning enemies to stone, including the sea monster Cetus, and eventually King Polydex himself. But the most significant moment came when Perseus encountered Andromeda, a princess chained to a rock as a sacrifice to another sea monster. Perseus saved Andromeda, and they fell in love, marrying and founding a dynasty that would produce some of Greece's greatest heroes, including Heracles. This myth resonates because it explores themes that remain relevant today. Medusa's story reflects the tragic reality of how victims are often blamed for their suffering. Her transformation from victim to monster speaks to how trauma can isolate and change us. Perseus's quest represents the hero's journey, the idea that we must face our fears and overcome seemingly impossible challenges to grow and protect those we love. The story has inspired countless works of art, from ancient Greek pottery to modern films. Medusa's image appears on everything from Renaissance paintings to contemporary fashion, while Perseus's heroic journey continues to influence storytelling today. Ultimately, the tale of Medusa and Perseus reminds us that even in our darkest moments, courage and divine help can lead us to victory, though the cost of that victory is often more complex than we first